Blessed be everyone. Today we're talking rules. It's got a certain, I don't even like the word rules, to be honest. It's got that sort of rules, you know, it's got that rule about it. It's not even a very nice word, to be honest. But we're going to be talking about the rules, or lack thereof, actually, of Wicca. But before we do, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. I'm the author of Crafting Your Wiccan Path and Tapping into Abundance. And you can find a link to both those books in the description field below this video. And if you want to know where to start your witchcraft practice or your Wiccan practice, have a look at my free masterclass, How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice. The link is in the description field below this video. So today I wanted to talk about rules in Wicca, because it seems to be that as Wicca evolves, it's gathering more and more rules, which is kind of weird, because the only rule, if you call it a rule, that it started out with was, and it harm none, do what thou wilt. And even that is impossible to actually fulfill, because living here on planet Earth means you're going to have to harm something in order to eat, at least, not to mention other ways of surviving on this planet. But the goal is to try not to harm anything or anyone, and that really has always been touted as the only rule in Wicca. But it seems that over the years, as it is human nature to do, that more and more rules seem to have come along, and honestly I don't know where they're coming from or how they're coming, but they seem to be coming along just with certain perhaps groups of people. So going back to the and it harm none, do what thou wilt, that was something that came from Gerald Gardner. And he was inspired by that from Aleister Crowley's do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, love is the law, love under will. Now that's the whole phrase there, but a lot of people misconstrued the Aleister Crowley do what thou will to mean do whatever you want. And so Gerald Gardner added the and it harm none first. So he was taking it from the point of view of the ego, so you don't let the ego run amok. And a lot of people misinterpreted Aleister Crowley's statement to mean whatever your ego wants, just go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter. But he was actually referring to the higher self will, or the higher will, divine will, not the ego will. Anyway, that's kind of why Gerald Gardner added the do whatever you want, just don't harm anybody or anything. But you'll find that in order for Wicca to actually be a form or something that you could recognize as Wicca, there are conventions and there's a certain form around it. So generally speaking, Wiccans believe in deities, goddess and god. They will sometimes, not always, sometimes in various different traditions there'll be a degree system. So that's like a hierarchical system of achievement. Other covens, they don't have that degree system. There's different styles of ceremony in different styles of Wicca. So some are more ceremonial than others, again, depending on whoever the founder of that tradition was. And Wicca does have a few different traditions, because there were a number of different people that hived off from covens and sort of formed their own tradition. So Alexander's was one of them. He hived off from Gerald Gardner and formed a slightly different version of Gardnerian Wicca, which you called Alexandrian Wicca. Then you've got people like Cochrane, you've got Raymond Buckland, you've got a lot of people that may have connections to these various traditions originally, but they've changed it as they've gone and formed their own coven and their own tradition, and that's how Wicca has kind of evolved and changed. Wicca is generally noted for the 8 Sabbats, so the wheel of the year is something that's associated with Wicca. And even working with the god and goddess, rather than just a god or a goddess, is something that's particular to Wicca as well, but not limited to Wicca, of course. But when it comes to actual practices, it's really a matter of choice. So some Wiccans may want to work in a more of a ceremonial way, and others prefer to work in a more shamanic way. I have heard that, and this is from people who've been told by people, that they have to have certain political beliefs, or they have to have certain political ideologies, or they have to have a certain diet, or they have to have a certain way of choices of magic or choices of health. And all of these things are coming in that basically say that if you don't do what we think you should do, then you're not Wiccan, essentially. And that's just wrong, because, as I said, the only real rule is "and harm none, do what thou wilt." I've known Wiccans over the years, and Wiccans vary in political beliefs, political persuasions. They vary with political ideologies. You're not going to find Wiccans necessarily agree on even political ideologies. Diet. There is nothing in Wicca that says that you have to have a particular type of diet or that you have to avoid any types of food. There is no rule that says you are not allowed to eat such and such. And I have heard people say that they've been told that they have been told that they're not Wiccan because they're not adhering to a particular dietary requirement or they're not omitting certain foods. And that's just not true. It might be true with a particular coven that's decided that's their rules for that coven, but that's not true of Wicca in general. And I think the problem is that people are associating covens who've got their own take on things with the actual broader beliefs of the tradition. And that's just mistaking a very, very small part of something that is particular to a particular group of people for the whole, and it's not. It goes back to this old story of the blind man and the elephant. Each man has a piece of the elephant, and they think that's the whole elephant. So one has the tail, one has the leg, one has the trunk, and each one of them says, "Oh, this part is the elephant." It's not. It's just a part of the elephant. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is, your sexual preferences, or identification when it comes to Wicca, okay? It's open to everyone and everything. It's open to all political ideologies. It's open to all political persuasions. It's open to all social beliefs. It's open to all morality in regards to modesty, for example. I've even heard that one. It's open to your diet, whatever diet you choose to eat, you eat. Health choices. You don't have to only rely on natural medicine to be Wiccan. You can certainly go and be treated with allopathic medicine alongside of natural medicine if you want, or just go for the allopathic. I mean, there's no rules there. You do what is right for you to do for your health. Your magical choices and your occupation. Okay, Wiccans have all manner of occupations and careers. So when it comes to daily life and all of those things that make us individuals and create arguments and debates, and unfortunately hatred, are open slather when it comes to Wicca. The only rule is that maybe while you're having your debate or having your argument, you don't harm each other doing it. That's really the only rule. As apart from that, it really is a religion that was based on freedom, and a lot of people came to Wicca, particularly in the early days, because of that freedom, because there weren't the rules and the regulations that other religions had created. Different covens will have rules, and covens have rules because you're dealing with a group of people, and when you're dealing with a group, you actually do need some rules because you need that social cohesion. And that does involve rules. So a coven will certainly have rules. And that will be different from coven to coven to coven. So not all covens are going to have the same rules. It depends on who's running the coven and what their experience is and what they've found they've had to bring in as rules in order to keep it cohesive. And if different covens may belong to different ideologies or different dietary ideologies, different forms of sexuality, different forms of even magical choices, then that coven is going to be that coven. And if you align with that, then great. And if you don't align with it, then you don't align with that coven. Okay, that doesn't mean Wicca's not for you. It just means that coven's not for you. And you just go somewhere else where you align. That's the freedom in it. And I hate to see the freedom go away from it, because people are mistaking a small group of people and what they're saying Wicca is for the whole thing. And that's just not how it is it is open. It's been open for a long time. I've already done a video on the Wiccan Rede, so if you want to delve more into that, I'll put the link to that in the description field below this video, and probably a link to it at the end of this video, so you can go and watch how you can harm none and do what you will at the same time. It's a bit tricky. So what my take is on that anyway, and what other Wiccans I've spoken to's take on that too, because not harming anything is impossible. It really is. I've done a lot of research because I have a strong interest in the way the plants communicate with each other, and the way that plants can even know when there's danger around. So I know from the studies that have been done on plants that when you're harming a plant in order to eat it, you are harming another being that does seem to have a consciousness. So it's impossible to not harm and still survive at the same time. So where do you take that, and how do you take that? It's a good thing to meditate on. If you want to learn Wicca with me, it's an eclectic path of Wicca. And it really is about making it a spiritual path for you that can help you connect more to yourself and to nature and to the divine. And it is definitely something that is an individual connection, even though you're working in a group and you're working with curriculum and practices, the experience itself is a personal experience. So if you want to learn Wicca from me, then have a look at my Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. The link is in the description field below this video. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and to comment. And I just want to also do a shout out to all of those people who have already donated money as part of the Super Thanks, which I now have available on my videos. I'm still setting up the monetization on this channel, so I'm not actually getting that at the moment, but I will be, hopefully, in the future. So thank you, and I will see you on the next video.